Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Nick Cosgrove, and I am back with this week's No Filter Q&A. This is the episode where I answer all questions related to diet, training, and supplementation that I've received over the past 7 days from our in-house clients, online clients, as well as a few of our online followers. Remember, if you have any questions related to your diet, your workouts, supplements you're taking, not taking, considering taking, please feel free to email me at nick@foreverfitperformance.com, or you can also send your questions to me on Instagram at @fitcosgrove_. I'm always happy to answer any and every question that I receive on our weekly Q&A, and I do put these questions up in chronological order every Thursday evening. Okay, so let's get started on this week's Q&A with question number 1. Hi, Nick. I'm new to weightlifting and was wondering how many reps and how many sets I should be doing for each exercise. Thanks. Okay, so that depends if you're doing basic straight set training or if you're doing circuit training. So at our private training facility downtown, what we typically do for our clients, we'll do circuit training because we have the luxury of training at a private facility. So we can pair up 7 to 8 stations in a row and not have to worry about random members or clients breaking into those circuits. So what we typically do with our circuits, we'll do 3 rounds. So if we put together, let's say 7 or 8 stations, I'll have the clients go through all 7 to 8 stations with no rest in between. And then we'll give them about a 60 to 90 second rest period and ask them to come back and repeat that circuit 2 more times and move on to another circuit. Now, if you're working out of a commercial gym and the only option is basic straight set training, because you can't really circuit train at a commercial gym, my recommendation then is to keep your sets between 4 to 5 sets. And I'll usually, when I work with clients online who train at commercial gyms, I'll usually keep all their sets at 5 sets per exercise. The reason I do that is the first set is more of a warm-up set. And I ask my clients to do a warm-up set for every single new exercise they do. I don't care if they're 30 minutes into a workout, I still want them to do a warm-up set for a new exercise. So that's why I usually have those clients do 5 sets, 1 warm-up set and 4 working sets. As for reps, I'm a big fan of keeping reps in double digits. So regardless if your goal is to get big or just get lean, I try to keep the rep range between 10 to 15 for most people I work with. Sometimes I'll go as high as 20 reps. Rarely do I go in that 6 to 8 reps. I'm not a big fan of that at all. And I never go below 6 reps on anything. I think if you're training for pure just raw strength and power, there's benefits to training into that 6 to 8 rep range. But if you really want to train for aesthetics, my recommendation is to keep your reps between that 10 to 15, as I mentioned. You can even go as high as 20 on some sets. And also don't forget to throw in lots of drop sets. Drop sets are great too, right? So I'm a firm believer in using a lot of volume when I train clients. So if you're doing circuit training, I like to do 3 sets because I can add tons of variety into the workouts with lots of exercises. If you're training out of a commercial gym though, I like to do basic straight sets, and I'll recommend anywhere from 4 to 5 sets. Okay, but for either circuit training or basic straight sets, I'd still keep those reps between 10 to 15. Okay, and go as high as 20 every so often. Okay, question number 2. Nick, do you think taller guys have a disadvantage when it comes to adding on muscle? I'm 6'6" and very lean. I have a difficult time adding on weight and feel that my strength has plateaued in the gym. Yeah, so when it comes to taller guys, you're right. Taller guys do have a disadvantage with certain exercises, but not all exercises. So I have a few clients who are well over 6'5", and I mean, they're tall guys. So I know when they do exercises like squats, deadlifts, hell, even bench press can be awkward for them because their limbs are so long. So even like a standard bench press going all the way back down, I mean, if you have long arms like that, your range of motion is going to be a lot more. Same thing when you squat. If you look at your hip to knee ratio on someone who's tall, it's going to be a longer way down to the floor. So there are certain exercises that obviously you're going to feel more awkward to do, but not all the exercises. So what I generally recommend for people who are taller is to find the exercises that work for you. Squats aren't going to work for everyone, right? Bench press is not going to work for everyone. Deadlifts aren't going to work for everyone. So it's important to find exercises that work well for you. And what I mean by that is you have to go by feel. One of the things I've talked about in the past is I've never been a big fan of deadlifting. I don't say don't deadlift. I just don't deadlift myself because I've always found when I deadlifted in the past, I never felt it where I was supposed to feel it. And to me, it was a higher risk to benefit ratio. So I don't think taller people have a more challenging time to put on muscle. I think you just have to be a little bit more strategic with where you design your workout programs. Okay, maybe you can't do barbell back squats because you're 6'6" and you're feeling like you're hurting your back. So maybe do hack squats instead. Maybe you can't do deadlifts, but instead of deadlifts, maybe do some bent over hyperextensions. So there's always alternatives. And the trick is to find an alternative that works that specific area you're trying to target. Obviously, if you're trying to train your legs and say, well, I can't do barbell back squats, but I'm going to go do seated rows. Well, no, that's training your back. So you want to find an alternative for the exercise that you're doing. Now, as far as staying super lean and hitting that plateau, that could actually just be diet related. Okay. So when someone tells me they've hit a plateau in the gym, I'll generally want to look at their diet first and say, okay, well, how much protein are you getting? How much carbs are you getting? Let's say your fats. Usually when people plateau in the gym, it's either because they're overtraining or they're under eating. Okay, so it really has nothing to do if you're tall or if you're short or if you're an ectomorph or endomorph. If you're an ectomorph, you just have to eat more calories, period. It sucks, but you do. If you're an endomorph, you usually have to eat less calories. So you have to figure out your body type. And that's where, again, it comes down to working with a knowledgeable coach that can help you. But I don't believe that it's impossible for someone to put on size just because they're tall. I work with a lot of guys who are well over 6'5", as I mentioned, and they put on tons of muscle. So you can do it. You just have to find a formula that works for you and work with the exercises that you feel. And again, if you're someone who struggles to put on weight, you really have to take a look at your diet and say, okay, am I really maximizing what I can get out of this diet plan? You're probably not, okay? But that's what I'd be looking at. All right, next question. Question number 3. Hi, Nick. Curious to know if you have a preference when it comes to who you train and work with. Do you prefer training men or women, athletes, or just regular people? There's really no particular demographic that I try to target when it comes to personal training. I'm a firm believer that personal training and coaching should be available to everyone, regardless what your goals are. Man, woman, athlete, just a regular person, senior citizen, someone in their 20s. Fitness should be available to everyone. And the same thing is, and this is one thing I've always tried to push to, is that personal training and coaching should be cost effective for everyone. So whether you make a lot of money or you don't make that much money, it should still be available. And that's why in our business, we typically will offer, yes, we offer our private training sessions, but we also offer small group class training as well. So it's important to be able to offer fitness to everyone, regardless of your income bracket and regardless of what your goals are or what your fitness level is. So for me, I've always liked working with everyone. Okay. And the reason I like that, it adds variety to my day. I might start off my day at 6 a.m. with a small group class with most of those participants who trained with me for the past 10 years. So they're very well versed in my workouts. And I'm like, okay, we're going to have an intense group class training because there's no beginners in here. And then my 7 o'clock, there might be some bodybuilders in there, and we might go from a full body workout in my group class. So all of a sudden we're doing a full hour of chest or a full hour of back. So that gives me a little bit of variety as well. And then maybe my 8 o'clock might be someone who's in their 70s and they're trying to work on rehabilitating an injury. So then the format of that workout program changes as well. So it gives me a little bit of variety in my day as well. And I like that. I think if I were to work with the same type of people over and over again, I'd probably get pretty bored pretty quickly. Same with my online training. I work with a wide variety of people who all have different goals. Yeah, I still work for a lot of competitors, but I also work with people who just want to get in shape. I work with a lot of women who've had babies and now they just want to lose that weight that they put on post-pregnancy. They want to lose that weight. So I love working with different people and who have different goals. It really keeps my day fresh, and it challenges me too, because I always have to think, okay, well, I have to kind of problem solve and troubleshoot and say, okay, well, this person wants to do this and this person wants to do this, but this person can't do this because they have a physical limitation, or this person can't do this because they have an injury. So it's good for me because it keeps me on my toes, and I have to keep thinking. So when it comes to who I work with everyone. And I never want to shut our doors down and say, no, sorry, we don't work with you because we're not able to help you because we're not interested in working with someone who wants to, lose weight because you just want to look good for the beach. Of course, no, I want to help someone who wants to lose weight. Maybe their goal is just to look good for the beach, or maybe they want to get ready for their wedding. Now, when it comes to working with people like powerlifters, for example, I don't specialize in powerlifting. So if I ever get someone, and I have had people contact me for powerlifting, I'll usually refer them out because I don't specialize in that. So If it's out of my scope of practice, I obviously don't work with those types of people. But for most people who just want to lose fat, build muscle, and improve their health, of course, I'll work with everyone. All right, next question. Hi, Nick. I'm considering buying a Fitbit. In your opinion, are they worth the price or are they overhyped? I've had questions in the past about Fitbit. I'm not against Fitbit. I think if it holds you accountable for your workouts, holds you accountable on your diet, great, use it. I know I have a few clients who come to see me and they like to track how many calories they're burning and what their heart rate is at during the workout. They like to track the quality of their sleep. Great. If that information helps you, use it. I mean, I've been training now, like as I mentioned last week on the Q&A, for 25 years. I've never relied on technology to help keep me accountable for my workouts. I never even kept a training journal. I just use my watch. That's it. I like my watch. I don't need a Fitbit. I've always just gone by how I feel. For me, I don't need a workout to tell me how many calories I burned. If I feel that I'm putting on too much fat, I start doing more cardio. I take down my carbs or I cut down my fats for a bit. Okay. If I feel like my strength is decreasing in the gym, well, then I'll increase my carbs and I'll increase my fats. Maybe I'll bump up my protein and change up my training style. So I usually just go by how I look in the mirror, and how I feel in the gym. So that's for me though. But I've never been someone to say, no, don't use Fitbits. Again, if it's holding you accountable and you go, okay, well, I know I need to burn, say, 350 calories for this next workout because that's what I usually burn. So I'm going to bring my Fitbit and that keeps you on track. Great. If you're keeping an account of, okay, I'm working out 5 days a week and if you miss that one day, it's going to show on your Fitbit, use it. Okay. Back when I first started training, people used to have training journals where they'd write everything down. I mean, I would make fun of them because I'd say every workout's different, so the weight you lift is irrelevant. But if something is holding you accountable, I'm all for it. If it's going to get your ass in the gym, use it. Do I think Fitbits are overhyped? Not overhyped. Do I think they're necessary? No. But again, if it's helping to hold you accountable for your workouts and your diet and your sleep, do it. Yeah, use one for sure. Can't do any harm. For me personally, no. And I don't need one. I'll never use one. I don't really like the way they look. I don't want a piece of plastic on my wrist. I like my watch. Look how nice my watch is. I'm not going to put a plastic Fitbit on my wrist. Not my style. All right, next question. Okay. Question number 5. Hey, Nick, where do you get most of your clients from? Instagram or Facebook? Neither. I'm active on both. More active these days on Instagram than Facebook. I feel like Facebook is slowly starting to phase out. So I'm not as active on Facebook as I used to be. I'll still post our group class schedule on our Facebook group page. I'll still post my weekly blogs and I'll still post our weekly Q&A. But as far as Facebook is concerned, I'm not as active on Facebook as I used to be last year or for the last few months. I'm really not. Instagram, I'm very active on. I'll update our stories on a daily basis. I'll be putting up posts, 2 or 3 posts a week. So I'm really active on social media. But I don't rely on social media to get new clients. I actually use it more of a baseline for our current clientele. So if they want to get in contact with myself or with Charlene or with one of our trainers, and they know they can DM us on Instagram if they have a question with regards to one of the training programs that we've put up or an exercise that we put online or something that we're making in the story in the meal prep, they can ask directly. So it's more of a baseline for that. To generate new clientele, I actually rely on my current clients. I'd have to say, this business is a referral-based business. And I would say that 90% of the clients that we have been referred to us through our current clientele base. Rarely do we get someone reach out to us from online or who's heard about us or who's heard about us through do a Google search. Rarely. It does happen, but most people that contact us have been referred to us from one of our own clients. And in my opinion, that's the best form of marketing because they trust their friend or their family member who's working with us already. They're not just relying on our sleazy marketing tactics that we might put out on a Google ad or something like that. They have someone who's worked with us and who has achieved results. So to me, that's your best form of marketing. Now that 10% that does come through us through Google or through Instagram, yeah, we do have a few people like that as well. And I guess it works to some extent, but I truly believe when it comes to the personal training industry that this is a referral based industry. And, really any industry where you're marketing your own service, I think you're going to have much more success if you ask your own clients and say, hey, if you know anyone that is looking for a trainer or needs to get in shape or is looking to lose some weight or wants to improve their health, give them my card or pass them my number. And, your clients will do it. They're like, yeah, sure, of course. That works well for us. It always has. And I've relied on that for years. And in return, I reward our clients for that. Whether that means giving them a complimentary session or a discount on their next training package because they're referring us business. The money that I would spend in marketing to get new clients in, I'm saving. So I figure, well, I might as well give that money to our clients who are giving us all this marketing for us. They're giving us these referrals. So I'd rather reward our clients than give someone, a marketing manager, $3,000 a month to market our services. So that's always worked for us. And if that changes, then yeah, we might have to start using some other tactics to advertise our services. But for now, our schedules are full. Our group classes in the evening are completely sold out, which is great. Our morning classes still have a few spots available, but we're doing great. And that's all through referral. So I really appreciate that from all of our clients who have referred us business over the past 20 years. All right, next question. Nick, what do you think about this training split? Day 1, chest and tris. Day 2, back and bis. Day 3, shoulders and legs. It's not a bad training split. It's not one that I would do if you're on a 3-day plan. Okay, so I'm not a big fan of putting chest and triceps together and back and biceps. I know it's pretty common for a lot of people to do that, but the problem is, okay, let's say you're doing a chest, you're starting to work out off of your chest. So you're doing your incline barbell press for your first, 4 to 5 sets, then you move on to flat barbell press, 4 to 5 sets, then you do maybe some flat or incline dumbbell flies, 4 to 5 sets. Okay, so you've worked your larger muscle group and now you move on to your smaller muscle group, which are the triceps. By the time you get your triceps are already going to be a little bit exhausted from all those pressing movements and even your flies. Because you have to remember, whenever you're doing a pressing movement, your triceps are your synergist muscle groups. So they're assisting in that push. So my theory is if you go to work your triceps after your chest, they're exhausted already. So you're not going to work them to the best of your ability. They're not going to be fresh. Same thing with your back. You go into a back workout, you start doing, okay, I do my first set of lat pull downs, then I go into some seated rows, and I maybe do some bent over barbell rows. And now I move over to my biceps next. By the time I get to my biceps are already tired because when I do row, you can't help but use your biceps because in any back exercise, your biceps are your synergist muscle groups. So generally, if I'm working with someone who's doing a 3-day plan, I don't like to do those muscle groups together. Typically, what I'll do is chest and back on day 1, shoulders, bis, and tris on day 2, and I'll give legs their own day because legs are such a large muscle group, they really need their own day. You really can't combine legs with other muscle groups if you want to get optimal results with your lower body. And I find that works for a lot of people because when you're working chest and back together, you're working agonist versus antagonist muscle groups. So whether you're circuit training or basic straight set training, doesn't matter because you go into a workout, you do your incline press, your barbell press, and your flies, and now you can go into your lat pull down, your rows, and your bent over barbell rows. They're completely different muscle groups. So you're not exhausting. The time you get to your back muscles, they're going to be fresh because you've just worked your chest and it's all in one day. And same with your bis and tris. Your bicep versus tricep is agonist versus antagonist muscle groups. So if you start your arm workout with biceps and you do 3 or 4 different exercises for your biceps, and then you move on to your triceps are going to be fresh. So you can hit each muscle group when they're well rested. So you're going to, in my opinion, you're going to achieve optimal results with that type of split. That's what I would do if you're doing a 3-day split. Okay. Now, obviously that changes if you're training 4 or 5 or 6 days in a week, but if you're doing a 3-day split, my recommendation is chest and back day 1, shoulders and bis and tris day 2, and just keep it the full lower body, quads, hamstrings, glutes, calves day 3. I think you'll get better results from doing that. All right, next question. Hi, Nick. Where has Robin been? I know she used to do the weekly Q&As with you, but I haven't seen her in some time. That's right. Robin has been absent from the weekly Q&As. Nothing to be overly concerned about, but Robin has been living in Toronto for the past 1.5 years. So it's really hard to get our timing down for the Q&As because there is a 3-hour difference and she's very busy right now. So Hopefully when she comes back to Vancouver, I will get her back on the Q&As because I loved having her on these Q&As. Her and I used to banter back and forth. There were a lot of things that we did not agree on. And I think a lot of people who love Robin, they love seeing her on Q&A. So I know she's very popular. So I'll hopefully be able to talk her back onto the Q&As when she returns to Vancouver. No promises. But for now, she's not going to be on these Q&As while she's in Toronto. It's really hard to time it with her work schedule and my work schedule and the 3-hour difference. It's too challenging. So for now, I'm doing these Q&As on my own. But when she comes back to Vancouver, which I can't give you an exact timeline yet, but when she comes back, I will be asking her to come back on the Q&A, and hopefully she will say yes, because I know a lot of people appreciate her input and they like that she puts me in my place because she's not afraid to hold back and she calls me on my shit, as you know. So yeah, I'm hoping Robin does come back to the Q&A. It won't be anytime soon though, so no promises. Maybe I can get her on an episode though as a special guest. I could talk her into it now that she knows she has people asking about her. But again, no promises. So for now, Robin is MIA. She's not going to be on the Q&As, but like I said, I will try my best to get her back because I did enjoy having her on those Q&As. And those Q&As would go for a long time because we would definitely banter a lot about quite a few of the questions. So we agreed on a lot of things, but we disagreed on, I think, even more things. So like I said, Robin calls me on my shit. She always has. She puts me in my place. So definitely want her back on the Q&A. And I think a lot of people, judging by this question, want her back as well. All right, next question. Nick, as I'm sure you've noticed with inflation, prices on food have gone up. Do you have any recommendations with regards to trying to eat healthy with rising food costs? Yeah, I've noticed that for sure. Food definitely has gone up. Well, as most people know, I like to shop at Costco. Not just because Costco is more cost effective, but for me, I like to buy in bulk. I buy everything in bulk because I eat the same thing every day. I eat fish every day. I eat chicken every day, ground turkey every day. So an oatmeal every day. So my diet's pretty boring. And for me, buying in bulk works really well. But Costco is actually cost effective too. I mean, if you compare Costco to, let's say, Whole Foods, for example, are you getting better quality at Whole Foods? Maybe on some things, but not everything. But you're paying, like, in some cases, twice the amount. So I definitely would be staying away from places like Whole Foods if you're on a budget. And what I look for too, what I've noticed in the last few weeks with inflation is there's a lot of things that go on sale. I made a post on my Instagram account a few weeks ago about the peanut butter. Peanut butter was like half price from what it usually is. So I bought 36 jars, which I know seems excessive, but I mean, it was $4 off a jar. So when you multiply that by 36 jars, that's a lot of money you're saving. So one of the things I've noticed that with inflation right now is that certain products do go on sale. And when they go on sale, they don't go on sale for a long period of time. It might only be like a 2-day sale. When you see that 2-day sale, I would just buy as much as you possibly can. I've noticed that I usually use that Bragg soy sauce too. That was on sale. It's usually like $9.99 a bottle. It was $5.99 a bottle the other day. I bought 12 bottles of it. So I'm noticing that more and more right now. I'm not too sure why that is. I'm sure there's a reason why the grocery stores do that. Maybe because they know they have to increase the prices of everything, and some things they'll put on sale every so often. But I'm noticing now that I've been noticing that probably more than ever in the last 6 weeks. So I would be looking for sales. And when you see those sales, buy up. But if you don't see those sales, yeah, you might have to kick it old school for a bit. I remember when I first started trying to eat healthy, I couldn't afford to buy fresh fish. I couldn't afford to buy cod or salmon. No way. I just used to buy like the canned tunas. They were, well, back then they were like 39 cents, but now I think they're about $1.30 still. They're not that expensive. Tuna worked perfectly for me. That was a lean protein source. Brown rice isn't that expensive. Oatmeal is still not that expensive. So you can still find ways. Egg whites aren't that expensive. It's just, I'd recommend buying in bulk and looking for sales. But don't start falling into that trap that most people would say, well, I can't afford to eat healthy, so I'm just going to go to McDonald's and A&W and eat crap. Don't do that. If you're finding that food has become more expensive, budget for it. Okay, you're going to have to take something else out of your life. Maybe if it's going out for dinner 3-4 times a week, cut it down to maybe once a week. Because in my opinion, the bulk of your money if you're trying to save money, should be put towards your health, right? So that's your diet and your training. Again, this is my opinion. You're thinking longevity. Eat like shit, look like shit, feel like shit. I don't see the reason why people eat fast food every day just because it's convenient. If it's convenient, let's say you work 12 hours a day and then you go and say, I'm just going to order from Skip the Dishes and have a burger and fries. You do that 5-6 times a week. A, you're probably spending more money than if you were just to cook your own meal. And B, you're loading up all kinds of crappy, shitty foods into your body. Who knows what it's going to do in the long run? When you hit your 40s or 50s, you're going to have all these problems with your health. It's not worth it. So I would budget when it comes to foods. I always tell clients, don't get frugal when it comes to your diet and your training. That's where I really tell people, like, don't ever cut back on that. Regardless if someone's working with me or not, I say, don't give up your gym membership. Like, make sure you still can afford that. Same with diet. Okay. There are ways, but that's how I would do when it comes to your diet. Buy in bulk, look for sales. And sometimes you're going to have to cut back and maybe you won't be able to eat fresh fish like I used to do and just eat canned tuna. I did it for years. Won't be forever, but for now, yeah, you have to cut back a little bit. But don't get too frugal on your food. All right. Next question. Well, this question isn't related to diet or training. Oh, okay. Nick, if you inherited $250K, would you ever consider making a lump sum payment into a mortgage/rental home? Not in this climate right now. First of all, 250K is not that much money. Now, if you have a lot of capital to put down, sure. You know, if we're talking to Vancouver real estate market, 250 is nothing. So let's say you have another maybe 750 and you can get something for $1 million. Yeah, sure. Why not? I mean, interest rates have gone up a little bit, but if you're having a mortgage that's under 500 grand, that's not going to be too much. If honestly though, if I inherited 250K right now, I'd put it into the stock market. Stocks are low. Best time to buy. I'm not trying to give anyone financial advice, but I mean, that's what I'm doing. I'm just buying and buying and buying right now because I'm looking at it and going, okay, well, the market keeps going down. I'm just going to keep buying. I'm probably not going to buy it at when it's at the lowest. No one ever really does, but I see it going down and I buy. Real estate right now in Vancouver, I look at the MLS every day. I don't know about everywhere in Canada, but I look at Vancouver MLS every day. I see places going down. I've seen places dropping 20, 30 grand from week to week, but that's because of rising interest rates. So if you have capital to put down and you can add that 250 in, sure, I say go for it. I would actually wait though until about mid to late summer because I think it's going to go down even more when interest rates go up even more. But if, again, 250K is not a lot of money. So there's not much you can do with that. So if you're putting that towards a home and you're only putting down 100K yourself and you're going to take out a mortgage that's 800 to a million, 800,000 to $1 million, rising interest rates right now, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that. No, there's too much uncertainty right now. So to answer that question, I'd feel better putting that 250, just throw it into the stock market, you know, roll the dice and see how that goes because everything's so low right now. Right. And I think that's your best bet. Okay. I'm a big fan of investing in real estate. I just don't think with that little money, it's going to do much with this climate right now with rising interest rates. And the market's still fairly high in BC. If you're buying outside of BC, maybe that might make sense. But as far as if you're buying in British Columbia right now, it wouldn't make sense to me. No, I don't see how that's going to make any sense from a profit standpoint. All right. Okay. Last question. Dear Nick, do you hate wheat? Is it the cheap whore of the carb family? Okay. So do I eat wheat? No. Maybe there's some indirect sources of wheat in oatmeal, but mind you, I actually usually buy gluten-free oatmeal. So I don't have an allergy to wheat, but I don't like wheat because it makes your intestines work harder. Sorry, my alarm's going off. When you eat wheat and it makes your intestines work harder, it's going to slow down your digestion. Most people find when they consume wheat, they also get bloated, they retain water. And it can make you feel very lethargic as well. So I don't find, just like dairy, I don't find wheat to be very beneficial. I don't find it to be a food that provides me any benefits. Just like alcohol, I don't see how it provides me any benefits. I'm not saying I won't have it, but I don't have it on a daily basis. If I go out for dinner or something, there's wheat in something I'm eating, that's fine. I don't have an allergy to wheat or gluten, so I'm fine. Do I put it on people's nutritional plans? Absolutely not. Because again, I don't find it offers any benefits. If someone wants to have it on a cheat meal or something, I'll say, yeah, go ahead, you have some crackers or whatever you want. But as far as having it on a daily basis, I wouldn't recommend it because it's not an optimal source of energy to use. So if you're thinking, okay, I want to get optimal performance, regardless if you're exercising in the gym or just throughout the day when you're working, you want to have proper brain function, you want to have energy throughout your day. You want to think, okay, how can I do this without having to rely on stimulants? And I mentioned this before in the past is when I'm going throughout the day, and my goal when I'm working with someone on a nutritional plan, one of the questions I ask on a weekly basis is, how are your energy levels? From 1 to 10. And if someone says on a scale of 1 to 10, their energy feels like a 5 or 6, I say, that's terrible. We got to bring those energy levels up to a 9. At no point of the day should you be feeling like you're crashing and that you need to have that double shot of espresso at 1 or 2 in the afternoon to pick you up again, or you need to have that muffin at the coffee shop to give you some energy again. If that's happening, there's something wrong with your diet. And that's when I start looking, okay, what are you consuming? Is there a lot of wheat in your diet? Is there a lot of gluten in your diet? Is there a lot of trans fats in your diet? And as soon as I start dissecting someone's diet and I see all these little problems and these red flags, I say, okay, this is why you're feeling like this. And this is why you're relying on this. So let's bring in those good complex carbohydrates, those healthy fats, those lean proteins. So your energy levels don't start doing this throughout the day. Instead, you stay like this from morning to night. And that's the way that that's my main goal when I work with people on their nutritional plans. I want them to feel good all day long, lots of energy. Okay. Because that's how I feel. It doesn't matter to me if it's 5 in the morning or 2 in the afternoon, my energy remains the same. I feel great. And that's all because of the diet, the way I've structured my diet plan. And I'm so worried to go off that plan because I know it's going to affect my energy levels. I'm more worried about cheating on my diet because it's going to affect my performance and my energy levels throughout the day and in my business than my aesthetics. That's what it's come down to. That's how much I rely on my diet now. So I wouldn't worry too much about, is wheat a bad carb? I'm not going to say that. No, I'm not going to say it's a bad carb. Is it a useful carb? In my opinion, no. If you like certain foods that contain wheat, have them, but have them sporadically. Have them maybe once a week, right? Don't have them every day. I don't think you have to eliminate every single food from your diet. There's room to have it, but if it's something you eat on a consistent basis, I would get rid of that right away. Because if you're someone who eats wheat on a daily basis, you probably already know what I'm talking about. The feeling you get, the bloating, the tiredness, the water retention, the slow digestion. I have some people that, even though wheat does contain some fiber, I have some people that get constipated when they have it. So it's not something I recommend putting on a nutritional plan. Anyway, guys, that's it for this week's Q&A. This will be going up on Thursday evening. Remember, if you do have any questions related to your diet, training, or supplements you're taking, not taking, considering taking, please feel free to email me at nick@foreverfitperformance.com, or you can also send them to me on my Instagram at @fitcollegegrove_. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember, if you do like the weekly Q&A, please like and subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to me. It shows me that you like what you're watching, and I will be putting these videos up more and more. Anyway, guys, that's it for now. Have a great evening. Thanks again. Good night.